And
and
you know
which
what? I think that's
go
what
ahead.
brought me here because I'm seeking understanding. But I
Mhm,
also, I think the channel was mentioned maybe on Kendra's. Like I like Kendra, and she speaks some real truth. And
mhm,
a lot of what she says, I know I may not say it out loud,
mhm.
but I'm seeking answers because I see the destruction of the Black family and this like crazy breakdown, and I'm like, how do we fix this? And I think that part of that is getting real with ourselves.
Mhm. Basically, I mean, it's more I probably need to do more videos on this, is because I don't, because some of this stuff goes way over people's heads. Is that uh, society, especially women are actually controlled more by the environment than they are by anything else, and women will
Mhm.
change according to the physical, but also the social environment,
Mm.
and
Oh,
that's how they respond. So it's not all women, but it's like, I would say, like at least 85 to 90% of women will respond when the society environment, or the social, or the physical environment changes. Women will actually change how they get on code, and
Mm.
uh, a lot of women say that there's a lot of dudes jumping the fence and leaving, and 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 uh, and there are all the black men are dating white women and other kind of women. I said that's not true. They said, how do you know? Because if that were true, if it was like 50%, not just the 10%, which I think is generous, 10% of men actually jumping the fence. 50% women, black women, shut the fuck up and compete. They wouldn't be talking. They wouldn't be mean to their men. They wouldn't be talking about lames. They wouldn't be talking about men ain't shit. They wouldn't be doing none of that. They'd be out there knowing that they had to compete with Becky, and whatever Becky's doing, or whatever Mei Ling is doing, or whatever Consuelo is doing, she'd be out there doing, because if I don't do it, I'm going to lose out. She wouldn't be saying anything. How I know that the vast majority of men don't jump the fence or don't date out is because black women are really way too comfortable about how they talk about how they treat their black men. Way too comfortable.
Yeah. And to me, it's not like a personal thing, as in, I'm a single person and I'm concerned about maybe a man that I want or not being able to get a man.
Hmm.
I'm engaged and I've been in relationships since I was 15 years old. So
Hmm.
I've never had an issue getting men. To me, I'm looking at the collective of our
Hmm.
people. And I know that this is, on the grand scheme of in the grand scheme of things, this is an issue. And we have it, it's a growing issue.
Hmm.
And I don't want us to wait until it's too late or until it's 50% of our men that are jumping the fence before we look up
Hmm.
and like, oh shoot,
Hmm. Oh, you look at the UK. UK is over 50%, and these people are coming from indigenous communities, and they're not coming from America where it's blended. These people are coming. Their grandmothers came from an island or from the continent, and basically they jumped the fence 50%.
Mm.
Even though the community is much smaller, but they jumped the fence 50%, and black men are actually socialized not to jump the fence. Otherwise, it should be more.
Yeah.
It should be more, but it's not.
and so can it be saved? I mean, are we at a point
Hmm.
where our black brothers have gone so far to the point where not only will they jump the fence, but they saying, forget y'all, we'll just stay out here by ourselves. And when it get hard, I'll just go and do somebody
Oh
that'll
yeah.
let
Oh,
me
they
do it. And
they
then
are.
so that's it. It's too far gone to try to save it, to say that
Uh,
there can be some healthy relationships, that there can be,
I don't.
that it's possible
I
to
don't know.
get what you want
I mean, the
if
thing
you're
is,
honest. If
it,
you can speak honest
hmm,
to a man, if you,
hmm,
because my brother and I had this conversation,
hmm,
that if I can speak honest to a man and say, look, this is what I want. I want to be in a committed relationship. I want this, and this is who I am, and this is what I do, and this is what I bring to the table. And if that's not where he is,
hmm,
that's one thing. But if he's so to the point now where I'm ruling off all women. Look, I've been divorced. I done this, and she took me through the ringer and blah blah blah. Then
hmm,
if that's not what it is are we to the point where that's not realistic to even entertain that anymore?
yeah,
Are we to
yeah,
that point?
yeah. But the thing is it doesn't make sense. Okay.
That was a
Uh,
question.
I think
That was a question. Are we
I
there?
think we're past that point, really.
But what? Okay.
The only thing is that the only thing is that we've gone so
So
far.
it's beyond saving. So it's beyond saving.
Is it beyond? No, basically because human beings respond to environment, right? So basically, if you want human beings to actually go the other way, you actually change the environment. And the thing is, but are black women willing to change the environment? So far, they're not. So if they're not, then basically it probably is beyond saving because you can't change the source of the problem. You know, basically you can't have a 75 to 80% divorce rate and expect black men to marry you, or you can't. That's how come your marriage rate is 26%. It's not hard to figure out the out of wedlock birth rate and the and basically marriage rate. Okay, people look at that. They don't look at the divorce rate. Your divorce rate is not only is your marriage rate less than half of white people's, it's your divorce rate is double. Those two things should not exist. How can you have a low marriage rate and still have a high ass divorce rate? What's going on? Why does that exist? And everybody knows 80% of divorces actually initiated by the women. Either one or two things: either black men are so horrible that you cannot live with them under any circumstances, and you shouldn't want to marry them, or the converse, that black women either don't like being married or don't like being under the leadership of men. What is it? That has to be figured out. The only way you're gonna figure it out is for people to be honest and not stick to a false narrative that everybody knows is bullshit. Because
BGS, you said earlier in the podcast that black men were being divorced by other races of women, like in a higher.
I didn't say that.
Okay.
I didn't say that. Where did I say that? But actually, that's actually a probably. Well, there was one study in 2004. One study that said that. There was only one. It was actually done by Pew, and it wasn't an official study. There was one study back 15 years ago that said it. That was the only study that talked about interracial marriages that divorce amongst black people. Now, I'm saying that there's a problem. Why do black women divorce black men at such a high rate?
Because they don't want to yield to someone's leadership. They have this independent mindset, they've all these liberal ideologies and these feminist ideologies that have been kind of ingrained in us. And then we get married and we basically want to do what we want to do. We don't want to yield to someone's leadership. We don't want to, have to come in at a decent hour. We don't want to be have to be responsible and held accountable for what we're spending and things of that nature. Like we don't want to do that.
Okay.
Maybe that's generational because I was willing to be that whatever we need to be at home with that. And there was no time for me to try to figure out, okay, I don't want nobody to answer to. I like that part of accountability and checking in. That was to me, that was the key component of being in a marriage. The reason I had to let go was because of insupportability. He just couldn't hold down a job. So I wouldn't say that.
That's why a lot of women got mad when I said the women are married to the game, they're not married to you.
Yeah, and I didn't mean on an individual level because I'm the same way, Regina. Like my man is older, he's 51, so I'm not. I have to. I yield to his authority.
Well, how old are you?
I'm 38.
You're 30. Okay, so you in concrete. Well, that's not unusual, but in other cultures that is very regular. You and Rice, yeah. You and Rice are in the same thing. Well, you're gonna see more. Actually, gonna see more of that. You're seeing more of that anyway. In fact, was it Nicole Michelle actually suggested it that if you're in your 20s, do not even think about dating anybody under 35.
Yeah, I wouldn't have even looked at an older man. I thought that he was younger and he looks really good for his age. He works out and stuff. So I wouldn't date an older man before. I'm like, an older man, please, But
Yeah.
Because older
And
men
that's
are
what.
stuck in their ways, just like they say older women. You have to really acquiesce to their leadership.
Yeah.
And
Yes, we are.
Yes, you do. You're supposed to do that anyway, right? To a younger man
yeah,
too.
but it's different
Why is it different?
because you know how y'all are. Very,
Yeah.
laying down the law, and
Yeah.
I'm not used to that.
Yeah. Well, because okay, let me give you an example, right? We're gonna take you as an example. Okay. Say you're 38. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. At this age, you have a better idea of what works and what doesn't work, right?
Yeah.
So if you dated, say, a dude that was or hooked up with a dude that's 22,
Mhm.
okay. So is it you? So is it you? So he's gonna say that you're set in your ways, right?
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Why?
Because
Because you've gone through all the stuff that he has to go through, right?
right,
And you know
my
what
life
works for
experience.
you and what doesn't, right? Compared to him.
Yeah.
So as an old person, because me being 60, okay, it's not that you're set in your ways, okay. It's like it looks like that because and Regina can chime in on this. She probably can say the same thing. It looks like we're set in our ways, but the thing is, we're looking at you and said, okay, I know what you're getting ready to do because when I was your age, I did the exact same thing. Guess what?
Hmm.
That shit doesn't work.
Yeah, but as a younger person, you want to experience things on your own. You don't always want somebody telling you because they've gone through it and they have that life experience. That basically like as if they're the expert. That's
Mm-hmm.
and then when you have a very
Mm-hmm.
pro-black alpha man like that
Mm-hmm.
is just that can be. It takes a special kind of person, but like I'm extremely amiable and I'm pliable and I can work with it. But a lot of women will be like, my friends
Mm-hmm.
are like, girl, you crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you say that. Okay, say the woman's 22 and she's saying that and blah 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 until she gets 30, and then guess what she's gonna say when she's 30? Oh,
Change your tune.
I see. You know what? I see what he was trying to say. So basically, so if you have an older guy, say you had an older guy, right? So you do have an
Hmm.
older guy. Say that you're younger and you want to experience it for yourself. So
Hmm.
he's supposed to just sit by and let you make the mistake and not say nothing.
No, I mean, if you see somebody, about to go off a cliff, you say something, but it's kind of hard to accept that, it's just different when you're dealing with someone that's older.
Mm-hmm.
They think they know everything. You get it's like, so kind of like it's just a little different. It takes some getting used to for you don't feel as though your experience is valid or valued in the relationship when you're with somebody that's,
Why?
10 plus years
Uh,
older.
so why don't you feel that you're valued or he's with the person's with you, so you have to be valued. Okay.
Yeah, not
So
you personally, but your
no. What I'm
experience.
talking about, yeah, what I'm saying is, so why? The thing is, you're saying it like you don't feel valued, or you don't feel, or some aspects of the relation doesn't feel valued, or your opinion is not valued, right?
Yeah. Like,
Okay.
okay, for
Okay.
example, like
Okay. Go
you,
ahead.
BGS,
Mm-hmm.
for example, like if you were dating a
Mm-hmm.
younger woman that's,
Mm-hmm.
10, 15 years younger than you,
Mm-hmm.
and you are a well-read man, if you own your own business,
Mm-hmm.
you have, been a part, you read on religion and history and all this stuff,
Mm-hmm.
somebody that much younger when they're talking to you and you're engaging in dialogue with them
Mm-hmm.
regarding maybe world issues or something
Mm-hmm.
like that, you will almost take on the stance like you're the leading expert as far as you too,
Mm-hmm.
because
Because I am.
see, and that can be annoying to somebody younger because they're like, okay, well, so
Because I am.
yeah,
So basically, if
see,
you
exactly.
in other words, don't ask me.
Oh my God, see, here you go. That's
Don't
the
ask me.
problem
Well,
because I am.
I'm supposed to tell you something wrong. I'm supposed to treat you like, well, there, baby.
No.
Okay, guess what? You know what? I understand why you feel that way. So why don't you go read this book and come back and tell me what you think?
Oh my gosh,
Is that
yeah,
that's condescending,
yeah,
right?
yeah, of course it is.
Mm-hmm. Instead of saying, look, this is the issue. X, Y, and Z. The reason the world works this way is X, Y, and Z. Blah
Yeah.
blah blah. You can agree or disagree, but guess what? This is the way it works. Is after 20 years of looking at this stuff, this is what I found out.
Yeah.
Okay. Now,
But you're also very like pragmatic and a realist. And if you're dealing with somebody who's more optimistic and they see things through rose-colored glasses, and
mm-hmm.
you know what I mean, it's just like you're two opposite people, and it can be challenging unless you have someone that is extremely
Okay.
reliable and.
Hey, it can be. So why are you with them? If you want to go through the reason you pick that person is because that person is knowledgeable and pragmatic and
Oh
knowing and
yeah,
worldly, right?
that's the trick too, because that's like a turn
Why
on
why
to
why is it
women. We
why is that
want
a
somebody we can learn from.
so why is that why is that the trick?
I don't know. It's hard to it's hard to put into words, but you just hit on something, and it made
Give me the feeling. What are you feeling?
well, you just hit on something, and it made me think about it. Like that is attractive to women.
Mm-hmm.
As a woman, when you see somebody who's knowledgeable and well read
Mm-hmm.
in all these different
Mm-hmm.
areas, and has a wealth of knowledge, and you can
Mm-hmm.
learn from them, and like that is like sexy.
It is
So,
sexy, but I know
but
why.
at the same time, it's annoying.
I know it's why it's annoying to black women. I already know
Oh
why that
gosh.
is.
Okay, can you tell me?
Because you're taught and socialized to think that you're better than your men.
Really?
Yes.
Mm.
Yeah.
How so? Like
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
not getting
Don't depend on a man. I've how many times it's like almost like a cliche. Get your education because um, want you to always be able to take care of you and your children because you don't want to extend too far out because men can leave you. Black men can leave you. They can hurt you. They can't always be trusted. So it's better for you to trust yourself. And that
The
leaves.
most popular one is I'm a strong, independent woman and I
I'm
don't
strong.
need no man.
I don't. Which basically translated, I can't depend on a man. I can't depend on black. He might look good. He might be working. He might be making money right now. But at some point, you got to be ready
Mm.
because but sooner or later he's going. Basically, he may fail you. But basically, basically, the brain interprets it. He's going to fail you at some point because he's defective, and we just haven't found the defect yet. And so when he's an expert, it basically he's rock solid. He's an expert. He knows things and stuff like that. All that is good, but the best he's still defective compared to me.
Mm.
So it
You know,
annoys me. It annoys me that I like what he does. I like what he represents. But
mhm.
basically, it annoys me that he thinks that he's better than I am.
Mm.
Even though
That's
in this case he is better than you, but I can't accept that. I can't accept that he's better than me. No, we at best we have to be on equal footing.
yeah.
So I can't accept that I am subordinate to you as a black woman. And if you're a black man, I cannot accept that I'm subordinate to you. I just can't accept it because that's not the way I was taught.
I tried to pride myself on actually not allowing that type of rhetoric to infiltrate my mindset. But
But
I think that subconsciously.
does it exist?
Oh yeah, absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely, and it existed in my household, because
Oh, really?
but I was a daddy's girl, and I always, sympathized with my daddy, and I was like, I felt
Mm-hmm.
some type of way when my mom and dad would go at it, and
Mm-hmm.
my mom was a pistol, so I would be like,
Mm-hmm.
I would be mad at her. So because of that, I always said, That's not how I'm going to be with my partner. That's not how I'm going to be with my husband. And but then again, like that's a part of like our culture. It's ingrained in
Mm-hmm.
us. It's like in
Mm-hmm.
school and
No, no,
television.
no.
So it probably still
Let
is
me, let me see.
penetrated.
Let me see if I can pull this up. I kept this quote. I always keep this quote because I knew I was going to pull this up continually. I actually took a screenshot out of the
Oh.
book. And the ladies know what I'm getting ready to pull up. The ladies know. They already know it because they've seen it already. But
Oh, Lord. Oh, Lordy.
out of Fraser's book, you know what I'm getting ready to pull up, right, y'all. You
I'm
guys already
concerned.
know.
That chart.
No, it's not a chart. It's actually a screenshot.
Okay.
Okay, let me share my screen real quick. I think you guys can read this. Okay, let me share my screen real quick. Those women had doubtless been schooled in self-reliance and self-sufficiency during slavery. As a rule, the Negro woman, as a wife or mother, was the mistress of her cabin and save for the interference of master or overseer, her wishes in regard to mating and family matters were paramount. Neither economic necessity nor tradition had instilled in her the spirit of subordination to masculine authority. Read Black masculine authority. Emancipation only tended to confirm in many cases that the spirit of self-sufficiency which slavery had taught. That's E. Franklin Frazier. He wrote that in 1930, talking about slavery during before emancipation. And this has been passed down. It's not something that just started with feminism. That's how come your conservatives figured that welfare was a bad idea for the Black community. That is the very reason why they thought that. I said, why did they think that welfare and that kind of stuff was that works for white communities and other communities was bad for the Black community? I could never understand it. So I read Frazier. I said, oh, now I get it.
That's some strong conditioning.
It will you're talking about what 12, 15 generations being passed down, and there's very few Black women that have not heard that from their mother. It's in some shape, form, or fashion. There's variations, but all economic, every economic scale, scale from 85 to all the way up to 100. I always use Michelle Obama as an example. You can see it. You can see it the way the relationship that her and Barack have. Now, if that was a white woman and her husband was president, she'd be the meekest, most conforming, most contrite. She'd be praising her husband and what he does and what a great man he was, and blah blah blah. You don't hear that from Michelle Obama. If you heard them talk, you would think they're just a regular couple from Chicago.
True.
He wasn't president of the United States.
True.
And you know what's interesting about Michelle Obama is that in her book, she doesn't really talk a lot about like how she feels about him. She mostly just talks about like, you know, how she met him, his education, and then like the whole process of him becoming president. But she doesn't talk about like any thing to like really support him. Because like I told you this before, where towards the end of her book, she was talking about all these programs she started for girls, and not just like inner city girls, but girls all over the world. And how like, oh, the success of girls and all this girl power, like woman empowerment stuff, but she never once brought up My Brother's Keeper. And we all know what happened with that. Like basically it didn't get enough support.
Oh, basically
it was just for boys.
Well, basically it was for boys, but basically over the past, I was actually reading over the past couple of years, basically they brought it into the Obama Trust, and basically they re-engineered it, and basically they pushed it back out. So actually it's actually doing better now than when he was president.
I heard that too.
So basically so basically they actually, I guess there was so much controversy about it, about Black women killing it or trying to kill it, that Black women kind of backed off and said, okay, this is not a good look for us, you know. So they kind of left it alone. So now basically is able to actually they're doing quite well, you know, in the last couple of years. I was looking at all the programs that they've initiatives that they actually have, because Black Girls Rock and Black Girls Code and that kind of stuff, it was actually done like 5 years earlier. And so when My Brother's Keeper came out, nobody thought there would be any kickback because you already got programs for girls, but there still was. And you would think that Black women would actually come out and say, you know, we need it for our sons. We're going to support this, and you chicks need to back off and let us do something for our Black boys. But
being in the role that she was in, why did Michelle push family more, community more, you know, as opposed to, it's almost like sounds like a business relationship, the way Cass was explaining her book. It didn't even, you know.
Yeah. I've heard her many times. She quoted that Barack was a man that had the good sense to marry somebody like her. To be successful. Well,
Michelle Obama's main focus, I think, as first lady, wasn't she focusing more like on health and
Yeah, health
like
and
Yeah, the
gardening and
children,
all that?
nutrition
children.
and
Yeah, yeah,
health and nutrition.
yeah.
Which isn't necessarily a bad thing. Like I'm not gonna say that I hated the whole book.
Mm,
I just there was some parts of it I really didn't agree with, and
yeah.
I thought was odd.
Yeah,
'Cause-
she got a lot of flack from white women about how she acted as a first lady because she didn't act like the prototypical
Yeah,
first
she
lady.
did.
She caught a lot of
Mhm.
flack. That tells you that there's a not this to black people. We said okay, yeah, we can rock with that because that's normal. So even black men like yeah, that's a she's a real black woman. Okay, that's what we
Hmm.
said. Oh, is she real? She not phony
We
because
liked that about her. We felt
yeah.
we could connect to her.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
because she's the lady down the street. She might have a little bit more
yeah.
money, more
Hmm.
education, but she's us.
A principal at your school type of thing.
Yeah. So basically,
Mhm.
you know, and what really brought it to my mind. This is like maybe it's got to be over 25 years ago. My ex, she moved out to the suburbs, right? Like way out to the suburbs, and basically it was a predominantly white school district, even though it was mixed, predominantly white school district, right? And
Mhm.
um, and when she always had issues with the white female teachers. Always, they could never jive. So basically, when she could only go so far, then I have to take that long ass ride out there and actually talk to the teachers and talk to the principal, that kind of stuff. Like when she'd be butting heads with the white female teacher and couldn't get anywhere. But I walk in and basically the white female teacher give me whatever I want.
I
Like
bet.
yeah, Mr. BGS, Mr. BGS, yeah, we can do that. Okay, Mr. BGS, yeah, we can move his seat so it doesn't talk as much. Yeah, Mr. BGS will separate. We'll do this, that, and the other. Never had a problem, right? Never had a problem with the white teacher. She did, right? Okay, when they moved back into the city and they started going to a predominantly black school, had black female teachers. Now the black female teachers didn't want to talk to me at all. They want to talk to her. They never want to talk. They always want to talk to her. She
Why is
job with,
that?
huh?
Why is that?
Okay. The honest answer. You want
Yeah.
that?
Yes.
We live. Black folks in America live in a gynocracy, in a matriarchy run by women,
Yeah.
and basically, and the authority figure in most black circles are the woman or the matriarch. In most, with white women, say if you date a white woman or an Asian woman, she wants to know your father. Okay, in the black circles, every black woman ever dated, first person she want to meet is my mother.
Absolutely. That's
Hmm.
yeah,
Because who holds the power in the family?
mama.
Mama.
But also look at the relationship that a lot of black men have with their moms. Like no one can compare to mama. So you
Why
want
is
to
that?
impress mama.
No, mama. No, you.
What?
Okay. Like I said, my mother's 80 years old. I mean, I'm in 60, right? So I
Hmm.
go back in the 60s when things weren't so PC, right?
Hmm.
Okay, if that nigga got to going off, daddy wasn't gonna be able to control him. Who she have to call?
Mama.
Mama. In other words, you have a problem in your relationship, you didn't call daddy, you call mama.
Hmm.
Because when mama would call him up and get him back in check, it wasn't daddy.
Hmm.
How come she didn't call his daddy?
Yeah. I don't know.
Now my
You would.
kids, all their girlfriends don't look to mama, okay? Because uh, to get my kids to do something, the first if they really want the kids to do something, everybody calls me,
Yeah.
okay? They always call me because I'm the only one to get them to do something because I'm much more firm than their mother is. Because
The woman, I always thought the importance, like even with my ex, like that it was important to impress his mom. Like,
right,
mama has the recipe for his favorite chicken, for his
mm-hmm,
favorite meal. She know just how he likes everything. So you
mm-hmm,
get close to mama.
mm-hmm. In the white community, get close to daddy because daddy, daddy makes the decision on who dates his daughter. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And
You're right.
when I dated black women, basically, if I can impress mama, I'm good. I'm Gucci.
Mm-hmm. Good point. That's good. I never thought about that, but that's a
I'm.
great point.
It's not what I'm saying. It's not good or bad. It's not good or bad. It's just different. The thing is, we have,
Hmm.
and it's not just women that have a hard time accepting. It's also men. No, they don't. They don't run. Come on, man. And this is not even public. Basically, I've been in the conscious community about 30 years, man, and uh, during a meeting in public, even on a broadcast, um, we'll talk about black men standing up, black men running the community, blah blah blah, all that good stuff, right? All of a sudden, we're not in public, women ain't around, and we talked about how how can we not make, but convince these women to actually change something. We can't make our women do shit. And basically, and 90% of the time, we can't even convince y'all to do shit. Basically, because you know, you hear us, or you really have to you don't even hear us. You basically you don't know what you're talking about. You're wrong. It ain't that way. Even when we know, and it used to be that way because in L.A. basically there's basically I'm friends with a black female matriarch. There's a dating because she's been in the community for God 40 years, well longer than that, like 60 years, right? So she knows everybody that's anybody in Los Angeles, right? That's black. Because everybody talk about I mention her name, they automatically know who she is, right? And she says the exact same thing. She says that black women do not take into account uh, black men's experience. They won't listen to them, and they always think that what they're saying is not true. They never accept that a black male experience point blank. They're always saying that either he's misguided or there's something wrong with what he's saying, that it's not accurate what he's saying.
I
And
agree. And
and
part
oh,
of
go ahead.
that seems to be because the part of their experience would require black women to take accountability for their actions. We're not with that. We don't want to take accountability for our actions. We struggle horribly with that.
Okay, so well, let's just dig into that. Why? Not that you speaking for all black women. Why do you think that is?
Because if we take accountability, that means we would have to start to fix certain things, and we still want the power to be on our side.
Mm.
Okay,
Eat.
so so
Good boy.
so
Good boy.
so
Like
so
to eat. Good boy.
you talking to us,
Good
Regina? Or
boy.
you talking to you're not on mute, Regina. We can hear you.
Oh, okay.
I was
I
gonna
was
say
talking
who
to
good boy. I said, well, so what are you doing?
okay. That's to the grand dog.
I hope so.
That's to
I
my
hope
little
so.
baby.
I,
That's to the
I
grand
hope
dog.
so.
Yes.
I hope you're
Yeah.
not making a blown back sandwich or something like that, like Neon says. I cracked up when Neon talked about blown
Oh
back
my
sandwich. I cracked up.
goodness.
I said, Neon, you are kinky. He said, you know I'm kinky. I said, yeah, I forgot because that little voice you don't expect it to come out of her little voice. It's like, is she actually
Right,
saying
right.
this?
Sorry, dog. I'm
It
sorry.
just it
Sorry,
throws
dog.
you off. Yeah, but the thing is that okay, if black women had the power and they don't want to they want to take the responsibility of fixing it, but they don't want to relinquish the power. How do things get fixed? Because I'm confused.
I'm not saying it's right in any sense of the word. I'm saying that's pretty much how I've seen it.
Hmm.
I don't think it'll ever get fixed because we want it a certain way.
Okay, so our black. So let me ask you this, and this is to. I don't mean to pick on you and Danielle. I don't mean to pick on you guys. I don't sound like I'm picking on you guys.
You're good.
So are black women happy with the status quo?
Um, I really don't think we are as a whole.
Hmm.
Um, I really don't think we are as a whole. And being that we're the least married, and it's starting to show,
Hmm.
I think that it's starting to become a bigger issue where we're starting to have to become more self-aware and do more self-checking.
Hmm.
At least that's what it's been for me. And so I don't really feel like we're happy as a whole. It's time for some change for us, I kind of feel.
Okay, because I've been because this is what goes on in men's circle. This is what frustrates guys. I mean, really frustrates them.
We're not happy. And not only are we not happy, I think we're angry. But
Okay.
I don't think change is going to come until our hands are forced. I think it's going to take something drastic for us, because this is how it's always been. We've
Mm.
normalized this dysfunction. It is ingrained in our culture. It is a part of who we are.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to take something drastic for us to do something different.
No, so, well, let me ask you this: if it's part of the culture, you guys have the power, you have the ability to change, and but you won't, and but you're angry.
Mhm.
Um, why do you take this stuff out on men? I'm just curious, on black men.
Because it's like a shaming tactic. We want things to go back the way they are. So we're hoping that with us going off on them, that maybe, if things will go, we want them to basically stay in the matrix with us. We don't want them waking up. We don't
Okay.
want them taking red pills.
That's
So
true.
you don't want them taking
No.
No, I mean, if more men are going red pill,
hmm
then that means that men are starting to wake up and to realize what the hell is going on. And of course, when a man wakes up and realizes what's going on, he's not gonna be stupid enough to keep going back in that same direction and doing the same stupid shit. He'll be like, fuck that. If you ain't gonna get with the program, I'm gonna find somebody who is. And so
hmm
that gives them the power because they left. It's power in leaving.
Basically, Obsidian catches a lot of flack with that because that's what he says. He said, in fact, Tommy Sotomayor, Tariq Nasheed, and Obsidian all said the same thing. Yeah, in a sense, vote with your feet or basically take your dick and go home.
Pretty much. If there's gonna be some type of change, that's the only way I can see black women kind of getting their shit together and starting to be more accountable, is if black men stop validating them in
Mm,
certain senses.
You know,
But I feel
basically,
some type of way like
go ahead.
we're co-signing it.
That black men are co-signing it or what?
No,
Okay.
that we, like the women and us, this conversation, you as well, BGS, that we're co-signing men leaving, like taking, packing their bags and leaving, divesting,
hmm I mean, are
because
you?
we're admitting it publicly
Oh,
that that's what it's going to take.
uh, well, basically, when you're telling the truth, that's what is that because black men really don't want to leave.
Right.
They don't want to venture because when you venture out into other groups, you have to take what comes with it. Basically, you have to put up with racism.
Mm-hmm.
You got to put up with the prejudice from the other groups of people, the other groups of men, the families. All that, you got to deal with all that shit, right? And that's not easy to deal with. The thing is it so bad on the other side where you come from that you're willing to actually go out and deal with there's less shit on the other side. Not that there isn't. There's less shit on the other side.
Apparently, because I'm dating a guy
Mm,
who was in a interracial relationship,
mm.
and he told me he received a lot of help from sisters.
Oh yeah,
So
oh yeah.
I don't like me understanding him and taking his experience and trying to better our experience. I don't really have a choice but to listen because I know the kind of hell that I've given men.
Uh-huh.
Not a whole lot, but a whole lot.
The thing is, like, being red pill, that doesn't necessarily mean that, like, you're divesting or
No.
just leaving. It just means that you understand the nature of women. And so, because you could be red pill
hmm
and still be with a black woman, you could be red pill and be by yourself, other women. I mean, and red pill isn't just like directed solely towards women. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, black women, because they have people who are red pill who complain about other groups of women. So it's not that. It's just that they're trying to hold black women accountable, and I think that that's the best thing about it, is that overall, like, hopefully at the end of this, we just come out wanting to improve more.
Mm-hmm.
Because the thing is, um, yeah, they got a lot of women who are angry, but they have to realize that if they want the situation to get better, they're gonna have to relinquish control. and they're gonna have to, compromise on a lot of things. They can't just sit up there and, run roughshod over the community and then not take responsibility for any of this stuff that's been going on.
Yeah.
But Kat, does red pill mean that, like, if you're red pill, what aren't you more likely to exercise your other options if you're not getting what you need and desire and that cooperation from Black women?
No, you have to make a conscious decision.
Mm-hmm.
It's not. In other words, you can't unsee. In other words, once you red pill, you can't unsee it.
Right. Okay.
Now, once you have the knowledge, then it's on you. Okay. If if you're red pill and you get back into, say, an unhealthy relationship, you can't say that you didn't know. You can't say that it's a woman's fault or it's somebody else's fault. No, you knew. So why did you choose?